I'm beginning to understand that better doesn't exist. And when I say that, I don't mean in the sense that we can't aspire to be more and we can't aspire to have more than we currently have. But when I say that, I really just mean in the sense that the term better and any word that, similar to better, I think it often implies comparison. And I think that comparison is often what prevents us from being better and from us being the best that we can be in the first place. I think that oftentimes we try to live in reference to the past, to the future, and in reference to other people. And in doing so, we don't allow ourselves to be the best of what we can be in the present moment. And I think that if we substantiated the focus on other people and the focus on the past and mostly the past, but also sometimes the future in terms of our comparison, that's what would actually allow us to substantiate that growth and substantiate the positivity that we desire and we aspire for from those other things. So when I say that better doesn't exist, I really mean in the sense that better shouldn't exist. And I don't mean that in the sense that, you should do absolutely everything that you have to in the moment so that you are the best that you could possibly be, even though I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing when you apply it in the right way. But when I say that, I really mean in the sense that it's necessary that we almost look at ourselves as if what we have now is all that we have right now. Because the past and the future, they don't exist. So when I say that better doesn't exist, I mean in the sense that we shouldn't try to compare ourselves to the past, we shouldn't try to compare ourselves to the future, and that we should posit any of the positivity that we desire in the present moment, right here and right now. I think that something that we so often look forward to, or something that we so often look back to, is our childhood, and it's almost the nostalgia that we have from that period of time. But I think that a lot of the reason why we were so present and why we were so joyful in our childhood is because we didn't compare ourselves to anything. I think that almost the progression of thought and the progression of comparison, it almost starts as just you, then it's you and other people, then it's you versus other people, then it's you versus yourself, and then it's you versus everyone. But honestly, I think that we almost need to try to regress backwards from that thought, almost going from you versus everyone or you versus the world to you and the world, and not you versus other people, but you and other people, and not you versus yourself, but you and yourself. And I think that in doing so, we almost go back to the point where we lose our own sense of ego, and in doing so, we almost become free from any of the restrictions that we would have had on ourselves before, because then it's no longer you, it's just the world, and the world is almost, not even almost, the world is exactly what you make it out to be. It's really interesting. It's almost like I know there have been certain times, maybe you've experienced it as well, but times where you almost look at or you notice something or someone, and then all of a sudden that person or that thing, they start showing up all over the place. And I think that it's not necessarily that they started showing up more after we noticed them. It's more that we started noticing them and they're showing up the same amount. So if we really just focus on the best that is right now, and we focus on the positivity that we have right now, then that positivity will begin to show itself in more places. And in doing so, we then just become happier people as a whole. Something I've been experiencing over the last 2 or 3 days is that I was so, especially earlier this week, I was so present in the moment and I was so joyful. And, the last 2 or 3 days, I haven't really experienced that same joy that I did maybe on Wednesday or so. And I'm recognizing that part of the reason why I wasn't able to tap into that enjoyment and into that presence was because I kept on looking back to the presence and the enjoyment that I had on Wednesday, rather than trying to build that, or not even trying to build that, but building that today. Because this goes into a different point that I have. I'll probably expand on this in another video, but that trying is not doing. And when I say that, I don't mean in the sense that, trying your best is not enough. But I mean in the sense that I think when we try to put our effort into trying to do something, we're almost taking away from the effort of actually just doing that thing. Because I think that in trying to be consistent, we're almost putting energy into that effort into, attempting something, rather than putting the effort into just doing that thing. Because I think that trying implies that we're struggling with something. And it's almost like when you recognize that you're struggling with something, that's when you finally start struggling with it. This is a point that I saw in an interview once, where they said that, we could walk in a straight line all the time, but then it's only a challenge when we do it on a tightrope, because we start looking down and we start looking at the failure that we could experience. And I think that's very true. I think that when you don't see failure as a possibility, then you have no way of failing. And I don't mean that in the sense that, we should be completely delusional in everything that we do. I think it's very important to recognize what the truth of the matter is and then go from there and try to change it. Or not even try to change it, and change it. But I really mean that in the sense that when you're focused on the negativity of something, then you begin to see more of that negativity where you are. But when you focus more on the positivity of something, then you begin to see the more of the positivity where you are. So I just think that it's important that when we're trying to be more present and when we're trying to be more joyful, we almost don't look in the reference to the past of the past enjoyment and the past presence that we experienced, but rather we just posit the positivity and the presence that we want in the moment right now. And in doing so, we become more present, to the point that if in the future you did want to look back and you did want to see how you were, let's say today or in this moment right now, you'd recognize that you were more present than you were if you tried to be present in reference to the past and possibly in reference to the future. Yeah, that's all to say that better doesn't exist. I don't think that better should exist. I think that comparison honestly takes away from our ability to do things in the present moment. And I think that the ultimate goal is to do everything in the present moment, in the sense that it's not you versus anything, it's you and everything. And also to say that even deeper than that, I don't think it's you and everything, it's just everything. And that everything and the you, they're the same thing. And that really just reaffirms the point and something I've been thinking about a lot, which is that we're infinite beings. We're capable of doing anything that we can imagine. I think that if you could see it in your mind, then it can be done. And, just through prayer, through true faith in God to, substantiate whatever desires that you want, as long as they align, obviously, with being positive and, not taking away from the positivity of everything else. I think it's very possible that we're capable of doing anything that we put our own minds to. And it just requires us to look inside and do the internal work so that God can do the external work. I have a Bible verse that goes along with the topic of this video pretty well. It's taken from James 3 verse 16, and it says, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder and envy, evil practice." I think that's what that says. Yeah. I hope you took something from this video. Even just making this video helped me a lot in my own mental space, in my own headspace, in terms of where I've been at. And I just feel so much more positive and I feel so much more present, even just reaffirming the beliefs that I already knew that I had in this video. So, yeah, I think it's very important that we reaffirm the beliefs that we have and we reaffirm the positivity that we have, not in reference to other things and not in reference to the past, but rather in the present moment right now in reference to nothing. Because when you reference nothing, you then are everything. Yeah, I hope you took something from this video. Thank you for watching and have a good day.